Have you ever been to one of those meetings where, you're at the meeting and you're thinking, I don't really know what the purpose of this meeting is. I don't really know why I am here. AYZ, right? Like project, whatever. That is the meeting. But sometimes it feels, I'm sure you've been in this situation, like someone invited you just to that meeting because they needed to make progress on their project or their thing, and they didn't know what to do next. So they just invited all the people that are involved. And when they invited you, then they hope that then that means they're doing their work. Oh my, I am sure you have been in many frustrating meetings like this. And here's what happens: overwhelm leads to vagueness, and vagueness leads to mess, not just for you, but for everyone around you. What do I mean? Well, when you're overwhelmed, and so many of my wonderful clients are back to back in meetings all day long, and they'll say things like, I don't even have time to think. And when they say that, my alarm bells go off, because if you don't have time to think, you've got to change something. Showing up to meetings and being back to back in whatever back to back things you are, that is not your job. Your job is not first and foremost. Your primary job is not to get stuff done. Your primary job as a leader is in how you show up. It's the clarity that you bring. It is in your presence, in your energy. It's the focus you bring, the questions you ask. It's how you move it. It's how you engage the people. It's how you bring the things together. It's not getting it done. That's, another piece. But when you show up, you got to first be clear. When you're not clear, it's vague, it's messy. How many times have you received vague instructions and you just started doing it because you thought knew what it meant, and then you started doing something, and then you get something back the next day because that's not what they wanted, and you're like, well, I didn't know what you wanted, it wasn't clear, and back and forth, and it's a whole big ripple effect of mess, vagueness. Oh my. And we're back and forth and emailing and more meetings because no one's really clear what's really the purpose. What's this really for? If you don't have time to think, you are making your life harder and everyone else's life around you harder, and you're not being the best leader you can be. You gotta make time to think, to get clear. And by thinking, actually, it's a lot to do with being silent, to tune out the noise. There is so much fear around us everywhere. We are rife with fear as a human race. And so you got to tune out the noise, tune out the fear, and get still and figure out, hey, what's the most important thing I'm working on right now? What's the one most important thing I can do today, this week, the next 3 months that will actually make a difference to the business, to the humans around me, to my leadership, to what I am here to make a difference on? You gotta stop. And then when you don't have the time, it's messy, it's vague, you're working all the hours, and what have you got to show for it? Exhaustion and a very full inbox, that is for sure, and more meeting invitations, that is also for sure. So when you don't have time for clarity, when you don't have time to think, you need it more than ever. And whatever you have to delete in your diary or move or say no to, you got to make it happen. You know it. If you're still watching, you for sure know it. And if you want help with that, if you know, yes, I know, but how and where do I even get started? And when I sit down to ask myself questions, my monkey mind goes all over the place and then I get distracted. Come check out the Leadership Hour, nominatan.com/leadership hour. It's for smart and conscious leaders who are really dedicated to making an impact through their work, not just to work all the hours that are available, but to actually really be deliberate about making a real conscious impact. And It's 1 hour a month. It's like being one-on-one with me. There will be more of you, but it's like being one-on-one with me. I ask the questions and you sit and get the answers. Those are not answers to be shared by anyone. You can totally show up anonymous. For most of my clients, their work is deeply confidential. It cannot be shared in a public forum. So this is not about any kind of sharing. There's no group work. There is no breakout rooms. This is just an hour where you sit and you actually do the most important work. You know, it is the work. It's really the habit that you know you need, but you haven't yet made consistent. That's what the leadership hour is. 1 hour of quality thinking every month. nominatan.com/leadership hour. Message me if you have any questions. And whether you join or not, making time to think, making time to be still, getting clear, that is essential. You would never, ever visit a doctor who said, I don't have time to wash my hands. I don't have time to wash my hands. Well, you go from meeting to meeting without washing your mind between sessions, without getting clear about what am I showing up for in this next meeting. It is up to you. The responsibility is on you. First, you got to lead yourself before you can lead anyone or anything else. And as I always say, now is a great time to breathe. nominatan.com/leadership hour if you want to come check it out. Otherwise, you can make it happen yourself. Ask yourself the questions, get still, tune out the noise and the fear, and figure out what is it that really matters here. Have a great day.